What's going on, people? Today I will finally be getting into Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald on Blu-ray and 4K, and I got that coming up for you next. So, I apologize. I kind of got backed up with releases. This month was crazy, even though I had one cancellation that I was actually looking forward to. Oh boy. But, hey, what are you going to do? So, starting off with the movie itself. This is a series. This is the first Harry Potter movie that I am actually reviewing for you guys. And it is a series that I could never fully 100% get into. My wife got me into it. I wish actually she could sit down here with me because she could give you a better idea of where this movie went wrong. But what I will say is, for somebody that is a layman to Harry Potter, well, for one thing, I have never really gotten into this Fantastic Beasts offshoot of the Harry Potter series. Newt Scamander is just not a compelling character, and they haven't really surrounded him with characters that are as compelling as in, the original Harry Potter films, at least for me anyway. And, I just haven't really gotten my teeth sunk into this franchise that they are trying to make here with Newt Scamander and Fantastic Beasts. This movie does not help, and it definitely adds a whole shitload of characters without really taking any away, and it got really freaking confusing for me, and literally I felt like my mind was blown with just mind overload trying to keep up with all of these characters. Luckily, I have my wife next to me. She kind of helped me through it. She kind of had to guide me a little bit. What I will say is, this movie is overstuffed. And it does not know what to focus on. And I feel like every time they introduced something that I could have found interesting, they choose not to focus on that and go back to like Newt Scamander's character, and man, this movie was overstuffed for me. I want to know Grindelwald. What are his crimes? I don't freaking know. I don't know why he's such a bad dude. Other than the fact that, he definitely does some bad shit here. But it's just, who is he? I don't know. And then, you want to introduce Dumbledore back into this, but then you don't give him anything to do, and he just kind of pops in to say hi, and then he leaves. This movie is messy. It is entertaining, but it's just a mess. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Man, I was overwhelmed by this movie. And to get into something a little bit more on my level, I am going to talk about the video quality here. Starting off with the Blu-ray, just because that's where I always start off, this actually looked pretty damn good on Blu-ray. It was shot all digitally, and you can definitely tell. And this is the clearest and the crispest of all of the Harry Potter films. And that is really awesome for me anyway. Somebody that is a visual snob, or not, I'm not a snob about my visuals, I just get into it a lot. I will say that it is my end point to this movie. And when you're talking about detail, there is detail for days in facial features, backgrounds, texturing on clothing, and so much detail goes into even the CGI beasts that New Scamander collects. It is all laid out in front of you here excellently. And besides the fact that I feel like this color palette is kind of dull and drab and doesn't really allow for a lot of moments that look like really impactful and like wow me, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Even though this is a very washed out movie, it looks pretty damn good, let me tell you. And the 4K presentation here will definitely give you some insight into why this movie looks so good. Because this was actually shot in 6.5K and given a 4K digital intermediate and Dolby Vision support. And you know what? Let me tell you, you see all of the upticks in all the right places here. Clarity is just so clear. You know, I feel like there is a slight level of grain that they put into this film just to have it match all of the Harry Potter films, because all of them really had a slight level of grain to them. And it is artificial here just because of the fact that it was shot digitally, but it still looks gorgeous and clear. The edges here are so defined. It is just a true testament to how great this movie looks. And when you're talking about detail, you can see just individual strands of hair, particles floating in the air, and so many details as far as clothing and textures that you can literally just see individual hairs on them. It is expertly done here. And then when you're talking about HDR, here is where the color palette here is kind of it's gonna affect it a little bit. This is a very drab, washed out looking movie, as I have already stated. So that isn't going to lend to HDR a lot. Even the facial tones are pretty washed out here. When you get into the action moments and you get a lot of the CGI that is in this movie, that is where you are going to see specifically the Dolby Vision kick in here. And when it does, it pops. It is almost blinding. It looks great. But those instances are very few, very far in between. And that is unfortunate. But still, this is a damn good looking 4K presentation that I'm going to give a 9 out of 10 to. It could have easily been a 10 with the help of a little bit of a brighter color palette. But these Harry Potter movies have always had this kind of washed out color palette to them. And whether you're talking about the Blu-ray or the 4K version, you get Dolby Atmos support. And luckily, they did not add the DTS HD 5.1 mix on either of the discs, which is important to say just because Warner Brothers loves to make that the default on their discs. It isn't here just because there isn't one. And so you don't have to change the audio. It just comes at you in Dolby Atmos like every other studio does, and it is all the better for it. This movie actually kind of underwhelmed me with its audio. That is really weird. And I felt like, I didn't have a chance to go back and watch the first Fantastic Beasts to compare it, but this felt very light and at times felt very muffled. Not so much with the bass response. Bass response was pretty good, but more like with the front speakers, and it's an odd mix for sure. The score here is toned down as well. It didn't have that punchy, exciting quality to it that I expected it to have. In the action moments, this score definitely comes to play. A lot of my gripes do go away. Height speakers are used at times during action moments. It is kind of light up there though, and overall I was kind of underwhelmed here. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It is just so-so. And when you are talking about the digital copy here, this is a Movies Anywhere digital copy, which means that you can download the 4K version with Dolby Vision on iTunes and on Vudu, along with a lot of other services, but those are the main two right there. Getting into the special features here, all of them are relegated to the Blu-ray. None of them are on the 4K disc, but you do get a decent amount here. So the first is J.K. Rowling, the author of these books. She pretty much goes through the film and goes through certain things that she wanted to emphasize here. It basically serves as an introduction to this movie. And then you have, kind of a light and fluffy featurette where the actors get together and they view certain scenes and they kind of just joke around and talk about just being involved with this world. You get another featurette that goes into the visual effects, one that goes into finally introducing Dumbledore, and then you get deleted scenes. There's a decent amount here. None of them are on the 4K disc. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It is serviceable. And that's my last looks at Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Look, this movie is bloated and it has characters to the hilt. It is just overstuffed and it doesn't know what to focus on, which is a problem in a movie that's like 2.5 hours long. This movie just lacks focus, and I really wish they would have just dealt with the story at hand. I wish they would have dealt with Dumbledore more, and I wish they would have really focused on Grindelwald. I kind of actually like Johnny Depp in this movie. I just feel like he just kind of pops in to introduce you to his character and then just leaves for quite a while and then has a end reveal at the end of the movie. That's it. And when you add up all my scores for Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald on Blu-ray and 4K, you come out to the same grade of a 26 out of 40. I wish we were given a better audio mix and a movie that isn't so bloated, but those were the two big offenders of why this got such a low rating. Coming up next on the channel, I still do have to do some recap, so I'm finally getting into Creed 2, that is right here. And then I got Lord of War coming to you guys, got some Nicolas Cage, and I have to watch Aquaman and Pet Sematary for you guys as well. There is a lot coming out for you guys. If you're excited about it and if you have any suggestions, comment down below. Let me know about that. And subscribe if you are looking forward to any of those videos and want to know when they come out. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are awesome. I don't even say it because you know it. And I will see all of you next time.